Good evening. You're listening to the Xtreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob. Tonight's episode, Xtreme TV. We are covering Cobra Kai Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2. Our quick reactions on it as we do the entire Season 3 of Cobra Kai. Gentlemen, with me this evening are RDV from the Great Midwest and Professor Pixel. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we?
Doing good.
Doing awesome, man.
I hope that we're all doing better than a lot of the people are doing in Cobra Kai Season 3 as RDV holds up his Coors Light, or I'm sorry, Coors Banquet, because that's important to discuss.
Sir.
But,
nope. If you don't have a banquet,
yeah, you've got nothing, and maybe the show has a banquet in it later on, which we'll get to when we review that. I'll start off by saying and taking I'll take the negative side for Season 3. I think Cobra Kai is one of the best TV shows I've seen in years, literally. Loved all 3 seasons. I think this 3rd season introduces some issues, some problems that they can't cover up no matter how good they do certain things in here. And some of them start actually early on in Season 3. So initially, I'll bring us up to this point here with Seasons 1 and 2. Obviously, I think the first season on YouTube, Red, at the time, was a way to kind of kickstart things. People were really excited about it. And I think at the time, even though we had talked about it briefly when we launched the Xtreme Movie Show, how we said that Cobra Kai is a great example of people that were involved in the original 80s show, movies, the whole franchise, how it gives an air of authenticity to it, or can, if done and handled correctly. And I certainly think the number one thing that makes the show the best is not that it's good, or young people today, without having watched anything from the 80s, can watch and go, wow, this stuff's done really well. I can relate to it. I think it's very smart that way. I think that writing is very possible in Hollywood, even though Hollywood doesn't have a tendency to do that. But I think it does an even stronger thing in that it really appreciates, like myself being an older person and you guys being younger, especially you, Pixel, being way much younger than I am. It really treats with a lot of great respect without being too hokey about it, the original source material. And I got to say, for the record, wasn't the biggest fan of the movies. I thought they were good. They were decent. They were fun. They were wholesome in a way. But even back then, in the 80s, we used to talk about how LaRusso was the bad guy, because of how things happen and what would happen when they'd be adults. And of course, the way the show got created, I'll leave that for you guys to figure out on your own, those who are listening. But to get to the point where we're getting to see Johnny as the good guy was great. Then they had a ton of 80s music in there. Not all the characters showed up, but maybe showing up in Season 3. I think we know that some may be, and we don't know what's going to happen. And with the delay with COVID and everything, it was really exciting, and I binge watched the whole thing, and I never ever do that. So here we are, we're left with, I guess, Miguel in a coma, having broken his back. It's, as Mike Tyson would say, it's spinal, but we know he's not going to die because it's not that kind of show. But episodes 1 and 2, I gotta say, start off a little bit kind of like on a lull, which is good, because you just had this big tragic thing at the end of the episode 8 where he's in the hospital. And I gotta say, just overall, like I say, I enjoy Season 3. I think it's good. I think some performances and some things they do great, but the meat and potatoes of the show, I still think it's going to come down to the age-old question of what do we like, what characters do we like or not like, and why, and are what the characters doing making sense. So kind of a little long-winded, kind of launching off here because we haven't covered the first 2 seasons, but let's go around the horn for initial thoughts. Pixel, let's start with you. What's your initial just take on the show in general, and specifically then after that, these first 2 episodes?
Well, I absolutely agree. I remember when we went through Ash vs. Evil Dead. It was the same thing. The people that worked on the actual movies, almost like a love letter to it, they make this show, and it's just perfect. This is one of the best continuations of a series, and we loved Ash vs. Evil Dead. I feel like this is even better than that as a continuing story from the original Karate Kid. As for these first 2 episodes, I felt like it might not have started as strong as the other season openings, but at the same time, it's absolutely what the title of the episode is. It's the aftermath.
Aftermath.
So Yeah, absolutely. Because the kids went crazy in the school, started beating each other up, and the school people are freaking out. And what's the line? Because Ralph actually, I'm trying to remember his name in the show.
Which character?
Daniel.
Ralph Macchio?
Daniel.
That's
Yeah.
Daniel LaRusso, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. He says, well, let's not turn this into a karate footloose here because they're talking about banning it outright. I honestly enjoyed the first 2 episodes of this season, and I'll let Bankman go on to his thoughts before we actually get into details.
Well, this mirrors the first season. As far as you find Johnny in the bar drinking, he's drunk again. But that's the second episode. But the first episode, you see him going and he's trying to visit Miguel. After that, he basically wants to see him, but they only allow family members there, and he's not in good terms with the man anymore because she blames him for his son being in there. And he's in a coma. And right now, the main plot he was turning off is that Robbie's on the loose, on the run. No one's seen him the whole entire summer. We have Sam, who finally going back to school starts to has like anxiety attack. She's reliving everything. People are making fun of her, so she decides to go back home. We have Daniel looking for Robbie because he feels responsible after the whole everybody very much karate is now banned, and I love the freaking. This is typical. This is what they probably would do in a school. Hugs. We're just gonna hug everyone. And I'm thinking
they played it for laughs, having like this no physical contact policy or whatever like that. And it's sad to see because I am very familiar with public school systems. Yes. The fact that it was a couple weeks afterwards and a lot of people are walking around at school is just a complete joke. But I'm not surprised that it's like that. But like I say, I think they played it for laughs. But as an adult watching this, I'm going, really? I mean, right. I don't know. I think, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But there is that one scene at the start whenever it's on the news and they have the girl singing that horrible hippie kind of song. I was laughing at that.
Yeah.
That was a good song. Yeah. She's sitting under there. With her acoustic guitar. She was the one that was a part of the Sam's group, though, in the car, I believe, in the first season or whatever they got all started to.
Season,
she was a love interest of somebody. Yeah.
Of Hawk. It was Hawk's girlfriend, but then Hawk, because he was a jerk to her, she dumped him. So now she's a big hippie about peace and love stuff, And yeah, there are people like that. Like I said, everything you're seeing this, as much as they're playing it up for laughs, they're making fun of the people who are like this in real life. Because hugs do not solve anything. Oh, I'm just gonna hug this person as they stab you repeatedly. But you why are you stabbing me? You should be hugging me. You can't curb violence by basically telling people they can't stick up for themselves. Sorry.
Well, one funny scene is like you mentioned before about Johnny trying to go and see Miguel or whatever, and it's like, okay, you get it, you understand it, and he tries to sweet talk the lady at the desk or whatever, and it's kind of funny because she just kind of blows him off, but then he hurts himself to get into the ICU, and I'm like, I don't know, it just seemed kind of stupid.
Well,
I didn't hate it, but I was
like, she said there were 2 ways to get in there. You're either a family member or you're a patient. He became a patient.
Remember, he tried to do the doctor. He stole the thing, and then the guy came. And he's like, "Oh, doctor, help me!" And turn around, like, "Oh, see, because he guy's ass kicked."
He's like, "Oh, you're no doctor, yeah.
You're no doctor." So he's like, "Screw it." So then he's in there. He sees the hairdryer. He's like, well, "Fuck it. I've already been banged up as what's different." So he just bangs his head against her, and I love it. Then he goes back up there, and blood's dripping on her paper purposely, like a dick, and he's just like, "I think I need to see a doctor now." I'm like, yes.
Well, I think we like him being assertive, not being a jerk. And that's, I don't know. And that's, it was neat to see, him and LaRusso kind of team up to go look for Robbie. But here's the thing. We have a show that has a lot of characters that get their 15 minutes in the sun, and some of them have been de-emphasized, like Aisha or whatever her name is. She's no longer part part of it, and they mentioned that briefly to get it done with. That's the right way to do it. And I thought, oh, I kind of liked her as a character, but she's not around. So I don't know if that's behind the scenes. I don't know if that's part of the bigger story arc for season 4, 5, 6, whatever. The African American chubby girl, the one that had the glasses.
Oh,
she was
yeah.
cool. Yeah. So she's
she
not
was
a
cut,
part of it.
So
yeah. But again, cut. I don't know if that means released. Who knows?
Yeah. Well,
But maybe she's on a coke binge.
well, they did explain.
But the whole thing with this, I'm bringing up with characters is that, well, yeah, they haven't written an explanation, but whatever. She's on the show.
She's here. Yeah.
Do we really care about Robbie? Because I don't.
Honestly,
there's characters in here that are cute, but I'm like, I don't really care. I don't want all these characters to show up every single time. You know what I'm saying? It's a big show. There's a lot of people on it.
I disagree. He's a big part of the story because you're continuing. It's basically you're getting Karate Kid, the new generation, is what you're getting. I
understand.
Here. And if you're not into that, then you shouldn't be watching the show because it's focused on the kids. I
don't have a problem with that.
No, because with everything coming back, you're basically getting the new generation have the same problems that have started from between Daniel and Johnny, but you also have Kreese, who also instigated this. So I'm saying we're finally getting to the roots of why everything's happening. Yes, Kreese is the reason why Johnny is the way he is. But also Johnny also has a stepdad. Remember, his dad left him. So all these people are getting into all these fights at Cobra Kai's. They all have issues. They all come from broken families or just being corrupted by certain things. I mean. I'll wait to more explain that because episode 3 and 4 really enforces my point. It's where you learn more about other characters in the show. But
I feel like episode 2 honestly increased that point, and I don't. I mean, I know we usually go into some details about the things, but we're just talking about the 2 episodes. At the end of episode 2, when Kreese is basically teaching his class, he says that. There is no good. There is no bad. There is weak and there is strong. Because this show is so morally gray. While the first one does paint the light that this is Danny, our Karate Kid, the person we're supporting. The first episode addresses it pretty perfectly, if I remember correctly, of the very first season. He explains, this kid came to town and ruined my life.
Episode 2, though, we haven't talked about it yet, though, as far as, and this is one of the reasons why I like the show way better than the movie, because you amped up the characters, you changed it. It's not just, the first movie was like, oh yeah, it's about a kid being bullied, stands up and do a karate match. No, this is more personal. This is more realistic to me as far as 2 guys who have a rival. They're going to fight against each other in cosmos. One guy is constantly getting in trouble with the law, and he's dragging the other guy into it as well. Like I said, it's a morally gray area. And then Daniel's producing he's suffering a bit. They're losing business because the whole karate thing. Their sales are down, everything is, and he's having a problem. He blames himself for starting up the dojo again and all that stuff. But episode 2, we get a look at why Kreese is the way he is. Kreese, it shows him working in a diner back in the 50s. He's kind of like, a nerdy. Yeah.
I think it was 65, I want to say.
I thought maybe it was. I thought it was
65 because he was in Vietnam. He was in the 50s now.
Yeah, early 60s. Anyway, he's working at a diner, and it's this girl that comes in with her boyfriend. He kind of likes her. Apparently, he's seen her before at school, maybe, and he's known as the Freak because his mom died. So he's working as a busboy, and
his mom killed herself.
Or I don't know. I don't remember.
I think.
Maybe I don't know, but anyway, well, he said no. He just said that she was sick, but she didn't get better. Anyway,
how I took it.
So he gets the guy in there. He sees the guy in there. These guys are two big idiots. They're jocks. And the guy's kind of a jerk, and he's making fun of him. Before they basically, the army guy comes up. He's like, "Oh, you guys have the right look. You guys should join the Marine Corps." And I'm thinking, like, sure. And the guy leaves, crumpled up and laughs on the ground. Where he picks it up, and he's like, well, hell yeah, I'll kind of do this. Because he's a nicer guy. He's patriotic. He's not corrupted. We don't know what corrupts him. All we know is
He's
that
a good guy.
yeah,
Kreese looks like a genuine, decent young man who's working, trying to do whatever, and he's jacked as fuck. This dude is swole. I mean, he is like, you're looking at him going, this is a hunky man. I mean, he really is. Clean cut everything.
I thought it was kind of cool that the guy, he's a nerd, so he's basically like McFly, with a jacked up McFly, and he gets tripped, he drops the stop, and then his boss just looks at him and gives him a dirt. I'm like, I would have just gave this boss the finger myself, because I was like, are you kidding me? You did not see the guy trip him, the customer? I would have thrown the customer out of the business. No, but no, it's because of him. And I don't know if that's true. If there are people I imagine there are some bosses who don't care, but I like the dog. He goes outside to take the garbage out and stuff. He sees those two guys with the girl, and he hits the girl, and he gets pissed off. He's like, hey, it's like, why don't you pick on so and so more your size, and like, oh, like you, whatever, and they start fighting him. He starts doing a little bit of martial arts stuff. If you noticed it when he's fighting, I almost wonder, are they going to show who trained him, who his master is? Did he learn it through the military, or did he learn it before? Or has he learned it from like watching something?
That's a good observation. Because I saw that too.
Yeah, I was like, dude. This guy, not only is he already jacked, well, obviously it's not. You make the observation that he's jacked when he's younger. Well, you people were slobs. You were poor in the 40s and 50s and stuff. Throughout the 60s. 60s, it started getting more. I guess
things changed.
Yeah, but guys were guys. You were expected to do all this stuff. There was no TV really as much. There was some TV, but when you had to provide for yourself, you provided for yourself. You didn't go ask for hey, can I get welfare? Wasn't really any welfare that I know of until later.
So,
yeah. I mean, I liked that it was they could have had a string bean guy, but it wouldn't have fit the role, because look at Kreese is jacked. Martin Kreese, in the original actor, the older actor, he is jacked. So it made more believable to have him jacked as younger, because doing all the physical work, you do get muscles. And who's to say he doesn't hit the gym maybe afterwards or something like that, or goes for jogs like Rocky? We don't know.
So, what you were saying about him doing some martial arts to take down the guys, I did notice that too, and I guess they'll have to explain it somehow. But there's one moment after this. It seems like he and the girl have gotten together after he gives her a ride home after beating those guys up. It's the scene pretty much at the end of the episode, right before he gives the big speech to the class while they're doing their. Gosh, I used to take karate, so I actually knew. But anyway, where he's getting on the bus to join the Marines, and she says, "I'll wait for you." I don't think she's going to be waiting for him.
It's so obvious.
I think he's going to
telegraph it, but it's nice. It's the thing that would happen there too, long distance and all that. Yeah. Well, overall, let me say this is I kind of close here with my final thoughts.
There's still one more scene though with Kreese though. You're skipping over a really big thing in order to get it.
We'll mention it. I'm just giving you my final thoughts here first, and that's this. It's we've spent most of the time on these two episodes talking about Kreese, and that's one thing going forward without revealing too much. I know most people binge watched it already, but I will say this. It's quite obvious based on the way they treat Kreese with screen time and his backstory. It's going to get a lot bigger. I appreciate that. I like the fact that that's going to be a central theme, and it's an adult, and we're not necessarily getting major themes with the lesser characters yet. So I think that that's been set up well. I don't give a rat's ass about LaRusso because I never really liked his character. I didn't hate him, but as an adult, he just is very wormy to me and comes off as an elitist snob, and whatever issues they're having with their dealership and all that too. I'm sure they'll figure out a way through it. Who knows? But since the focus is really, I agree, what was said earlier about the new generation of people becoming like the old one and the transition handoff to that. We'll see how well it does. But overall, extremely quickly digestible 2 episodes. lack 80s music. Not quite sure, but that being said, doesn't have to be because it's not an 80s show. You know, it has 80s people in it, but I missed that because that really helped out, I think, season 1 a lot there too. Although we'll see what happens with 80s music later on too. So, final thoughts, guys?
Like I said, I want to touch more on Kreese because we're learning that Kreese wasn't always a bad guy.
Correct.
Especially when he's talking after you see all this flashback, you see him talking to Tori. You know, paying less. She's been having a problem with paying the rent. You got the landlord earlier try to say like, hey, if you can't pay the rent, you can pay sexually. Okay, so I'm thinking like she's a freaking minor, you freaking idiot. And so so when Kreese shows up, they say, hey, you know, how do you find me? He's like, well, you know, I have my ways and all ninja stuff, and it's like actually your address is on the thing. It's like, he kind of jokes a little bit. Where I'm thinking like Kreese is such a bad guy, and like. We're seeing a soft side of him where I'm actually like kind of liking him more because like he's
that's the whole
bad.
thing. It's just that's a good that scene you're talking about is a really good piece of acting because his back's to the maintenance guy that was propositioning her and she didn't offer, so it was kind of okay, he's being a creep, and she's just kind of as she's talking to Kreese does one or two, you know, if you go back and look at, I think the count was 3 or 4, she does this quick little eye glances over while she's talking, but to say, "Hey, well, this guy," but she doesn't tell Kreese why.
No.
So that's one thing I liked about Tori's character in here is she's working 2 jobs. She's trying to support her mom, who's real sick too, which
identifies with Kreese.
Yeah. Exactly, and she goes her own thing, and Kreese is doing this on his own. So I agree with you about that. That's a good scene.
And I love it that the guy like Kreese kind of catches on. He turns on and sees the guy there, and then so Kreese. Remember, he had a cigar earlier in the episode. He cut it, so he brings that back out. The cigar cutter. The cigar cutter. Puts the guys out doing service and the coins out, and the laundry's like, "You got to come back later." He's like, "I'm not gonna
Michael Jordan him."
Yeah, he's like, he comes up with he grabs the guy. He puts him in like a hole, and he puts his finger through the thing. He's like, "We need to have a little talk here." He's like, I need to lay off to him, but you know, he's like, I need rent. You know, he's like, anything you say? He's like, you know, it's just like he's getting, and then he pushes in a little bit, make it look like he's going to do it. And I'm like, oh, is he going to cut it regardless? Because that's the thing with Kreese. We're seeing him a little soft. It throws you off. I'm thinking Kreese would just cut the finger off. He wouldn't care. You know.
Well, an important note is that he wants this girl to be his new star champion. But the thing about that scene, it looks like he's about to cut it off. Cuts a hot dog.
Well, yeah. The next scene is like,
Miguel after in the hospital, and he cuts the hot dog. And
but
like, oh no!
I don't think he wants Tori to be his new star because he's kind of Hawk's being riled up to be the new person. Tori is
I think he just sees himself in her, honestly.
Yeah, too. Yeah, but their ranks, remember, and I can't remember if it was this episode or the next episode. They lost. So I'm not sure.
Well,
it blends. Like I said, when you watch, Rob and I binge watched there, so it blends in really easily. It's like it's so easy to watch. Like you're watching 8 hours of television. Yeah. It feels like 2. When you're having so much fun.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it the right way. I'm watching it 2 episodes at a time so that we can properly review it.
It's hard to when it's such a great show, and it's like as Rob can say, he can give some negative reviews on it, but it's Rob's like, I gotta watch it.
Well, I'm taking the bad part to it because of just certain themes from the first 2 seasons that have been on my mind, and I'm over the it's so good, it's so awesome phase, with my eyes. And again, I still think it's very good, but there's some things about it. But watching and I'm entertained, that's the important thing. Any final thoughts for you, Pixel?
Well,
I like we started this conversation with, I really enjoyed these episodes. I look forward to seeing how it goes. I do look forward to seeing more about Kreese's backstory. I feel like in that first movie, when we get his character and everything, again, it is painted good, bad. I am far more interested in how this series has turned everything from colors to gray. It makes you understand these people, and that is the good thing about this show. Because even I remember in the first season, at the end, Miguel was straight up a bad guy, and all through season 2, he kind of gets to find a path to redeem himself. Look what happens to him. This show is very compelling, and I can't wait to keep going with it.
I do love the moments with Johnny and Miguel, because originally when we woke up, he went on to do it, he blamed it. He's like, "Why is he happy?" He's like, I don't know. It's something we'll get through it. It's like he kind of blames. He's lashing out because he's like, he's afraid he's not going to be able to walk again. Especially after seeing his mom talk to the doctor, and he's like, and he can't feel his leg. He lashes out at Johnny snuck in or talked to him, and I love that Johnny says, like, "Thank God you're rid of the headgear. You're starting to look like a nerd." The neck brace and also. but like I said, like I know from these two episodes, I think they're gonna set up. You're gonna have Hawk versus Miguel. He's gonna join the Miyagi crew, and they're setting it up as far as where Kreese is gonna be the only one running the Cobra Kai. But I don't know. They're hinting that I'm thinking, like, are they gonna bring back the villain from the third one? The guy with the long hair. I
don't know.
The knockoff.
Will it happen? Might it happen? Should it happen? We'll discuss.
Like I said, the more people they bring back,
pretty quick.
If they bring back cast members, like, remember they showed Elizabeth Shue's character was calling him on his phone. He threw his phone away. He doesn't have his phone. That's why. And I love how Daniel is like, "Where's your phone?" I goes, "Oh, I got rid of it." It's like,
yeah.
So,
spoiler alert, she does show up, but there's more than just that, and I'll leave it at that, Pixel, to tease you.
Wow, spoiler, bro. I didn't get that far.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, don't read.
I need to watch the
good
other
episodes.
movies now.
But anyway, like I said, I was never a fan of the original Karate Kid. Like, I watched the movie, I thought it was okay. And, it's a heartwarming story. But the show was like, holy crap! It's like, it's the show for adults. Like, it's like they're keeping the '80s like theme, but they're like going like, we're gonna go into like risque 2000s. We're just gonna make it a little bit more vulgar, more adult. We're gonna get rid of oh Daniel, I don't want you to fight anymore. Mom, I can take care of myself. No, that's like Daniel's like, I want to kick your ass now. Like, and I understand he comes off a jerk, and I think that's an excellent point. Because the first two seasons, Daniel is a jerk. They kind of flip sides. And I love that they're doing the same with Kreese as they did with Johnny, explain why he is the way he is. Going back to Afterlife, about.
We'll get into this more the next two episodes. I've been biting my tongue about him. I'm just telling you.
No, I know.
I'm just telling you.
I just want to say
this review is about as long as a Karate Kid episode, or sorry, a Cobra Kai episode. Now,
if you let me finish, I'm almost done, sir. I just want to say that Daniel. It is key. The reason why he's being a jerk is key in these episodes, because you'll find out eventually. I'm not going to reveal it, but I'm saying he's lost. He doesn't have Mr. Miyagi. So just like in the Karate Kid 2, he lost his way as well. It took Mr. Miyagi said, it's like, you're a good student, but you have a hard head. Like, so basically Daniel, even though all he is, he's imperfect. So now remember, and it's much more different when you're the sensei. And you're instead of being the student.
Yes.
So I can excuse him why he is the way he is, but like I said, we'll talk about the next week. And like I said, up to this point, it is a phenomenal show. I'm hyped just to watch it. I'll even watch it again if I have to, because it's just it's a great show. I'm just saying, it's not PC. Normally we'd get PC. This is the opposite. This is like classic 80s television, 70s, where they did not sugarcoat it for you. You actually got what was going on, and yeah, there was no freaking agenda crap. And I'm glad, because like the only thing I didn't notice in here, like the only one that does Kreese actually inhale, or is he always holding it? Because that's my one thing I was worried about being an 80s show. We saw the Stranger Things, how they edited it, the cigarettes and stuff, wasn't smoking, they got rid of it.
Yeah.
So I gotta go back. I'm curious. I missed that part. I have to go. I remember if Kreese was actually smoking a cigar or not.
So, what you said about it not being PC, I do have to bring up the fact that it so easily could have been that it's astounding that it's not.
We will discuss that in greater detail later, because it's a very important point about this season, and without really getting into spoilers, could potentially be the biggest weakness that the show has. And it's an interesting thing that it may have gotten Netflix sanitized a little bit with the smoking and other things there too. But we'll leave it at that for now, because again, I think the middle episodes, I'll just say this, I think are the strongest. I think it starts off well, and we'll see about the last couple episodes how they all fit into, because we know there'll be a big fight. We'll know there'll be people we weren't expecting. But yeah, great show. We'll be talking about the next 2 episodes pretty soon. So guys, thanks for showing up. Pix, I'm glad you're able to join us yet again. For those listening to this, by the time we post it, Afterlife episodes 3 and 4, season 1 Ricky Gervais show, we just dropped. So take a look at that too. And there'll be some more stuff coming up, including the continuation of the Hellstrom review series and some other stuff from Friday Night Fights as we start 2021 very strong. Thanks for listening, everybody. As always, stay extreme. Have a good night.
Cheers, guys.
So long.